We are recording, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I'd like to call the Arundel Planning Board meeting to order at 7:10. At the agenda this evening, we have approval of minutes for March 26th and March 13th. Public comment on non-agenda items. Pending applications is number 3. On the pending applications, the first one will be Portland Road Commercial Building, conditional use application. Item 2 will be Southern Maine Marine Plenary Site Plan Review. And after that, we have new application, it's Case Butter Cow Barn, conditional use application. Item 4 is zoning ordinance modifications. Under that will be the DB2 district discussion with action. Finally, town planners report and set next workshop for the zoning change. I'd like to have a roll call, please.
Marty Kane.
Bob Kuhn.
James Lauer,
Tom McGinn.
John McGinley.
Roger Moran.
Rich Canal.
Tad Redley, planner.
And Hard Board Secretary.
If anybody has any electronic devices like cell phones, you can turn them off, please. We'll have everybody read the minutes of March, let's see, 6th.
I'd like to make a motion, we approve the March 6th minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Yay.
All opposed?
I have to abstain. I wasn't there.
Okay, you abstain?
Two. Two.
Two. How about March 13th meeting?
Move to accept.
Yeah. I just second. For purposes of discussion, minor administration, page 2, fourth paragraph down starts with get boys presented the plan to the board. Last sentence, actually, the larger of the two buildings will be used. Take out 2 inside and replace it with 4. Other than that, minutes were fine.
Do I have a second then?
Okay, the second, that was part of the discussion.
Okay, all in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain. Two. Abstain. Okay, open for public comment on non-agenda items. Anyone here? None? Then we'll go to public pending applications. Portland Road Commercial Building, conditional use application. Proposed construction of a 5,520 square foot building with a frame of 1,296 feet, expansion containing low impact manufacturing, warehousing, retail use on 1.96 acres located on 1362 Portland Road, tax map 34, lot 4A, in the CCS district. Lord Boys LLC is the owner, applicant, and Steve Doe of Sebago Techniques is the applicant's agent. Pat, you got anything?
Mr. Chairman, the status is that we were waiting to do a site walk. We did that site walk a few minutes ago. And one of the things we need to do is discuss anything that was seen on the site walk, if there were any concerns that were noted on the site walk that the applicant needs to address. And so I'll leave that open to the board right now. However, where do we stand on this? Everything, I believe the board said this application was essentially complete, and the next item that would need to occur would be to, determine if there's anything that is missing that you do want. I should mention that the applicant has given me cost estimates. I agree with the cost estimates, they're well in line. He's agreed to do also performance surely, which would be most likely, I would recommend that he's consented to do a third-party agreement, in which the bank basically holds money. And he has agreed to go to that. So we have a performance assurance that was one of the few things that was missing from it last time. My question to the board, was there anything out there at this site walk that anybody saw, any concern that you saw, any discrepancy in the map and field conditions that you saw, any concerns about runoff, any concerns about building placement, any concerns of any of those natures, whether you felt that the plans did in fact reflect site conditions, and you know exactly where the building was going, the parking was going, and how the address how the applicant is addressing the issues. Just for those members who weren't on that site walk, I should mention the applicant has also indicated that he may not do the gray water system. You'll notice there are two systems that have been proposed in this application. One's a gray water system for cutting, basically it's lubricants for cutting granite, cutting granite, right? Countertops essentially, right? So it's for cutting granite countertops, and that was a way of collecting the wastewater from that. It has all the tailings of that cutting. He's also considering the possibility of doing an internal design that would be incorporated into the actual building. That's a business decision he has to make. He has provided a separate system for the water that will be generated. The septic system is, as we noted, was in the
Bob, you have,
Yeah, that was the one area I guess I was a little confused about. The internal system would totally replace the second HM2. Is that correct?
Yep.
Would that need to be reflected in the final approval? I mean, if someone, if you approve this plan, we're approving the outside one.
Well, that's true. I mean, you consider the outside as a backup system, if you will. I mean, his first, what happens internally, I mean, if his internal system were to go down, if his internal system were not to work the way he wants to, he has a secondary system, which is the external system.
That's if he puts in the internal.
If he puts it in, but if he doesn't, then he's got a system to do it. He has a system. If he chooses, if he makes the business decision not to do it, then he's already been approved by you guys to put in the external system.
But I think that goes to Bob's point, if we approve him to put in the external system, he has to put it in because it's on the plan, whether he decides to
Oh,
do
yeah.
the internal or not.
Yeah, that was
And I was
I'm
under the
trying to
impression
say
that he was debating which way am I gonna go? Because I don't think he wants to do both of them.
No.
he's going to do one or the other. It's not going to be a backseat. If the business decision is to go internal, which is different than what you've got,
My mistake.
then he wouldn't have that external. So I would guess in your calculations, then you'd probably wanna, because those things cost lots of money. Between,
So if you approve that plan, you can't do less than what's on that plan?
That's right.
Correct.
Like if the building's 120 feet long and I decide I want to make it 100, after this is approved, I can't do
You'd have to come back for an amendment.
it. Okay.
Okay. Some cases, the board allows staff to make that as a minimus change. Other situations, they don't. They feel like they want to have.
Can I give you that info before the next meeting, before it gets voted on?
You want to take it down the wire, huh?
Just looking at the numbers, man.
Yes, you can do that. Certainly, it's easier to subtract than it is to add.
Right. Is that something, would I just come to you before the next meeting, or just bring it up at the next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, if, I would bring it up before the next meeting.
Okay,
And actually, I would do it in written form.
sure.
it would have to
And
come
I
off the
would
plan.
disseminate that.
so that we can attach
And if-
it
and
to.
if- Right. Well, if you were to go with the internal system, then you would want this erased from the plan, because anybody that's
You know
on
what,
this plan-
I'm just gonna take it off. I'm gonna take it off.
You can take it off?
Yeah.
You can take that chance, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then if you do choose, if you find you need the external, you can come in for an amendment.
Yeah.
You might have to come to the board, and maybe you could go.
Well, for him, he's gonna have to rip up his paper.
Yeah, I was going to say, that would be, that would be.
I'm
sure
pretty
he wants to
confident in
do
the recycling system, so. I will need a floor pit, but it will have no outlets, except to a pump.
Board, do you need details of this?
Well,
Should be a note on the plan. that
I
that's
think,
what's there.
I think before final approval,
Sure, I can do that. I can have Steve put it on the plan and
take out the other.
Chad get you copies before the next meeting.
But as long as he doesn't introduce any discharge
Yeah.
that's not going to the septic field, I mean, it's an internal process. We don't sit here and nitpick on
Oh,
a lot of
internal,
other
It's like a
internal
piece of
processes.
equipment.
Right, we're not gonna question what kind of machine he's putting in to do his process.
No, the only thing you want to make sure is that any of the waste product that's being generated is being handled. That's why he,
Right.
whether you approve or disapprove of what, you're not going to approve the system that he's proposing.
Correct.
That's not really within your purview unless you believe that, unless it's a technology you're not aware of. Let's put it that way. I think these technologies are pretty standardized,
Yeah.
so it's not like it's cutting edge stuff. That's unproven. You just want to make sure that there will be no discharges from this building that could have an adverse impact on the septic system or
Right.
on groundwater quality.
Exactly.
So, that's the decision, that's the criteria you have to make. So, however you feel comfortable on that, I think the internal system sounds good. You give us an indication of that, you put that note on the plan, you erase the gray water system.
Okay.
Okay, need a motion to hold a public hearing?
I have one other question. How does the board feel about the buffering? Because remember, this is the 15-foot buffering rule. How do you feel about the buffering that exists out there? Right now, the applicant's proposing to maintain natural buffering, existing buffering.
Well, there was plenty to the south.
Yeah, plenty to the south. The
I think I was looking more to the along the road. I think there's
And
adequate
the
buffering along the rear and both sidelines.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the distance and where that, there's no building potentially going to be in front of that.
Right.
So I didn't see a problem.
I don't either. I don't either.
And that's where the work is gonna be, that's where the noise is gonna be. that's where-
Well, the front building is gonna be not a standard metal building. It will be a wood
No.
frame, wood shingle.
Pretty.
We want it to look inviting.
And you were more for the landscaping portion of the front?
Yeah, I was just wondering how you felt that, whether that was necessary in those
Well,
circumstances.
the building's set back pretty far, so is the parking area.
Well, and I'm just reminding you of your standard on parking.
I don't think it needs that.
Well, I think the standard on parking, if he maintains the current one, because it was to the side of the building, and a little bit in the front.
There's like 5
The
spots.
front was for like retail.
Right.
Right. Front is good reason.
Yeah, I went to, and that drives my. Yeah, so there's a 20 or 30 foot thing where there's actually parking that would be visible from the road. So maybe in the front of that. But other than that, this is, again, to the south is going to be pretty well buffered. This would be the only one here. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep. But again, it's gonna be retail. I mean, we wanna invite,
Yep.
I don't wanna hide.
Oh,
Yeah, the buffering is not actual structure.
it's just to kind of have
Okay.
that parking. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, basically what we've got is we've got an entry there. That's all we've got.
The,
And that's long exceeded, I think that's also we have in there.
Yeah, you got your green vegetation buffer, I think that's enough.
and again, in looking at the plan too, there's a slope where you first come off of the road.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how much fill you were planning, you were gonna do it, you didn't grade all the way back, but with that going down a little bit and then back up, that parking area is actually raised a little bit, so there's already kind of a natural.
Yeah, I think Steve only has that as long as seating in that area.
You will pull the tree stumps out. Kind of hard to drive.
This is kind of an extension of the area that we went with, unless I think there's a new building out there after. Hopefully you do good enough to say it.
Okay, all right, so that, is the board in consent on that? Okay. I'm okay with the lighting, is the board okay with the lighting? Lighting meets all the standards of the district.
Standard cutoff.
Yeah, the standard cost. The other issue is, of course, also there's a phasing bonus here too. There is no time limit, you don't have a time, yeah, you don't really have an estimated time in the future construction of the building, right?
No.
What's that gonna be contingent, that's gonna be contingent on, any, is that
Need a new
your?
house built? Need a house built?
Well, don't want a
Cash
house.
flow.
I'm just looking for revenue.
Yeah.
Well, you can do, if I understand the administrative process, and I'm trying to do that. So it's really two phases.
Yes, I think I'll put the foundation in. I'm gonna do all my site work, first shot.
As part of the first phase, to have that done. So if you had the surety for the main building and, before the actual building went in, what would they're going to be?
I don't have any surety for the buildings, the surety is only for site work.
Yeah, so, you would get it,
Yeah, they provided the parking is also provided for the retail. So that's already being put in right
Put
now.
in
for the
now,
retail. And
yeah.
all the systems, including the drainage, the stormwater retention system, all based on that completion of all, of full build out of the site.
there's several alternatives that you have in providing that. Have you guys discussed it at all? Or providing surety? Letters of credit, third party?
Yeah, no, we've pretty much agreed on that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we've agreed on, as I said, a third-party agreement, which will be with his bank, third-party agreement will stand for what that is for the board's edification. It is basically an agreement with the bank whereby it binds itself not to release any of the funds in an account that he establishes without the written approval of the town. What happens is we agree a drawdown form that's done theoretically monthly, but it's done usually in one or two stages based on how quickly most places work, in which the quantities are attested by his engineer or his consultant. I verify that the work has been completed. His engineer or his consultant verifies the work's complete. We both sign off, and then it goes to the bank. The bank releases the money to the contractors. It's actually a very slick system. It moves very quickly, and you don't have to write 1099s, and he doesn't have to, worry about getting his check from the town.
I'm good.
Anybody else have any comments? Need a motion for a public hearing?
I'll make a motion that we hold the public hearing
First available date.
the next meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor of that?
Yeah.
What date that's gonna be, Pat?
10th. And we're meeting on the 10th of April.
So the only change you wanna see is just pull that gray water system.
Yep. Deal with your graded water system. It sounds like you've already made a decision. Okay, very good, you're all set.
And so that meeting will be public hearing and vote, is that right?
Yeah, unless, you have 20 neighbors coming out and saying that you're burying dead bodies out there, yes. The board has.
As long as the chairman.
That wasn't in the application.
No, it wasn't in the application, that's why I brought it up.
Public hearing and it's on the agenda.
That's yours. Yeah.
Okay, you're all set.
Okay, thank you.
Who wants to sit around and watch
Yeah.
the next?
I do.
Watch Paul struggle.
That's right. Next item is Southern Maine Marine Plenary Site Plan Review, Determination of Completeness. Proposal to remove an existing 1,125-foot square building and box trailers, construct a 6,000 square foot retail building, 11,800 square foot storage building, and a 23,500 square foot gravel bulk storage yard on a 2.9 acre parcel containing an existing marine sales, service, and storage facility located at 2461 Fulton Road, tax map 12, lot 4-2 in the BI district. PCL Holdings LLC is the owner, and Paul Gadbois, PE, is the applicant's agent. We'll let Paul lead off.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So you're gonna set up the easel, or you want just, put on a chair?
Be fine. You can't use hands though. It's her desk.
Okay, hands. The, well, sidewalk went pretty well this evening. Hopefully, planning board might have any questions. I'll be glad to answer that. The last meeting, Tad was concerned about the fire trucks being able to get in and get out of there and do their turning radiuses. I did plot a circle right here. This is actually a 6-foot diameter circle. Cul-de-sac, for a street cul-de-sac, can be 55 to 65 depending, what type of operation. So this is actually a 60-foot diameter circle. So the fire trucks can come in here and actually, I actually kind of did a hammerhead turnaround which fits in that circle. But obviously, this will be an area that will be reserved for fire lane and or access for the fire trucks. The other thing we were asked to look at is parking. I did come up with some parking information as far as office, sales, and repair, and come up with some parking space required. I come up with 13. This is actually going to be customer parking, 8 spaces for customer, actually 7 spaces for customer parking, or 8 for customer, I'm sorry, and the rest will be employee parking beyond the gate up adjacent to that building. And that employee parking doesn't interfere with the diameter, 6-foot diameter radius for fire truck turnaround. I guess that was about the main concerns the planning board had at the last meeting, was turnaround and parking. I'll be glad to answer any questions the board might have.
Can I get the copies? I don't want this one.
We'll be
I think they all need one too.
Will be your own.
I only have one question for the
Yep.
planner. Is the application complete? Has he submitted everything that?
Now he has.
Okay, because that's the purpose of this, to determine whether or not it's complete.
Right. Let me ask you, as a member of the fire department, do you feel good about this? Should we send this to the chief?
Oh, I think the chief should see it anyway, because he's the chief. But I think that there's plenty of room to turn a truck in there.
There is, I agree. We've got a 60-foot radius, and I think Kennebunk's ladder is 45-foot radius.
Can I ask a question on that? Because Paul, you just threw a curve in there.
Oh, good.
Did you say that the employee parking takes up that radius?
No, he does
That's
not.
No,
The employee parking is not within that radius.
Not within, I thought you said it was within.
No.
Okay.
From
Hey, you
the
can
club,
see the
but
circle
it's not.
before you
Like,
are.
he's got a bigger radius than he needs. He's got a
Yeah.
bigger outside radius.
I heard him.
And actually, it's a larger outside radius than the inside radius.
Bigger is better.
And as you mentioned, it's gonna be done in phases, right, Paul?
It's going to be done in phases, that's correct. The first phase is going to be the construction of the 72 by 165 cold storage building. That would be the first phase. Second phase will be construction of the entrance. And
That
then-
was spring and fall of next year.
Correct, this is hopefully early spring, this would be fall, according to the schedule I turned in. And then the third phase is going to be construction of this new building. And then the fourth phase will be remove the old building and start construction of, well, actually, this, I'm sorry, phase one is going to be actually this portion right at the entrance. The parking lot will be phase one also. So when you're constructing phase one, these boats that were stored here, we're gonna need some room to put the boats, we're gonna stack the boats up in this area, so we can construct that building. So this portion will be phase one, along with phase one.
Yes, but Paul, by the springtime, okay, or whatever that is, those boats will be gone.
Hopefully.
Right.
it's assuming we get spring.
Any other board members have any comments, questions?
Could you go over the phases again? I didn't,
I gave it to you, I gave it to you in your packet.
Yeah, it's in, it was in the minutes.
I guess my question, Paul, how are we gonna do performance assurance on this? In phases, have you set this up in phases?
The surety
Costs?
lien? Yeah. Cost, Paul's gonna actually break that down, he has some preliminary costs of the entire project. He's looking at around $250,000 complete phase one.
March 13th.
That's site, that's building.
That's building inside. So you just
Site.
want
I
site.
don't want that.
So Paul's gonna break down site for you and turn that in, in the next couple, 3 days.
I'll need it before the next meeting. so-
Yeah, oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so he's working on the process estimates for site. And we'll break that down for each phase.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I want,
Yeah.
because I don't think, Paul, you wanna give us all the money up front, do you? For the whole project, no. No. I assume you probably wanna do a tri-party too, you have to deal with your bank?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably do the same thing with you, tri-party, in which the bank holds the money,
Yeah.
it's theirs anyways, and they'll release it as work progresses.
They got I've been working with a bank this last month and a half on this whole thing, trying to get things lined up.
Okay.
And they have a outside person you have paid to come in every time now to check the site, make sure it's done. However, I don't know.
Yeah,
who
okay.
that.
Yeah, I guess, and you get to pay for that, huh?
Yeah.
It's part of the service.
Hence, nodding your head, saying yes.
So, Mr. Chairman, we need a motion to complete, and then another one to move it to a public hearing?
Yes.
It is complete, it's already been deemed complete.
It's been deemed complete?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, because
You guys need to do-
that's what this said, it just
You
determined.
need to do, you need to do the sidewalk. So you've done the sidewalk, and then we need to
Do the public hearing.
Well, again, so I guess we need to hear if there's any concerns about the sidewalk.
Yeah, that was gonna be my next question. I mean, we all, for the ones that have been on the sidewalk, anybody have any concerns, comments?
The only thing I'll bring up again is the propane to make sure that's protected.
Yeah.
With the road, that's gonna be pretty close over there. Just to look at, make sure we got distance or the voltage or something.
Sure.
And is there somebody on the sidewalk, and I don't remember who brought up the distance that he needs to do, and get that clarification for the entryway, which has to be paved?
Yeah.
Is that to the property line?
How far back does the apron have to be?
From the to the property. Okay, yeah, just a point of clarification. And then
that's a good point, I didn't check that. Let's go to the videotape.
25 feet.
Is that it, Marty?
I've been through it. Because,
Just to prevent a lot of stuff coming out on the road.
no, you're not. Because also too, it says to the property line. But the property line may not be on Route 1. So he can actually leave a divot. It says to his property line. It doesn't say to the center of the road to try to have the property line meet Route 1.
Oh, from the edge of the
Probably
highway,
not.
property will stop. He understands.
Leave a blank in between.
Can, technically, because the way they said to your property line, if your property line is 50 feet off the road,
Then you got 50 feet.
Doesn't make too much sense, but I guess.
I'm just saying,
Yeah, well, then you have to take 50 feet to get to it.
Yeah.
but it's not his property.
Well, but it'd be part of the project.
It'd be part of the project, then you'd have to get an easement or whatever to be able to do that. It's not the case here, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
This is one of those hypothetical.
Actually, I'm glad you brought that up, Marty, because there is this special, it's what I like to call a Bob Kuhn landmine, because Bob knows where these usually are. We have a Bob Kuhn landmine here. And it's not Bob's fault, by the way, I should say that.
Oh, okay, that's, I'm gonna say.
77D8B. It says, all driveways shall be paved with bituminous concrete pavement within the street right-of-way. All commercial driveways, which you can qualify as, regardless of driveway volume, shall be paved with bituminous concrete pavement within 30 feet
Yeah.
of the right-of-way. So it's 30 feet from the right-of-way back.
Perfect.
Okay? Yep. So it's not from the pavement edge, it's the pavement edge and then 30 feet back from the right of way. So you've got the right of way well established, so it's gonna be the station.
Seven, seven.
I thought it was 25, but it's.
Yeah, I'll make sure it's 30.
Well, they changed, it was 25. They changed it to them with the character of,
But that way nobody will catch it
Shut on.
later, and you'll be good.
No, that's perfect, no problem.
Okay. We got that resolved, anybody else?
What section was that, Sam?
Seven, seven.
77D8B.
Yeah. You'll find it on page 82, Shane. Very last one, just before landscape.
Yeah, because the question had come up on commercial, I couldn't remember what the difference was. That's why I brought it up. And you said you have to look at it, so. I figured we
Now,
might-
if he had, if that lot that Paul's creating there, where actually it's an existing lot, he's re-subdividing that lot. If that lot gained its access from this because it's commercial, he would have to pay the whole thing. But because it actually has legal access from the road, he doesn't.
Mr. Chairman, I move we schedule a public hearing on April 10th.
Second,
Next
the motion.
scheduled meeting.
All in favor?
yes.
April 10th it is.
I think it is.
The next 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you, no, that's good.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next item, new application. Item 1, Kate Sputter Compound, conditional use application, proposal to construct a 6,476 square foot dairy barn on the site of Kate's Homemade Butter Agricultural Demonstration Facility on 37.82 acres, parcel located at 852 Alfred Road, tax map 5, lot 9A, in the R4 district. Daniel and Karen Patry are the owners, and Lucas Patry and Allison Leary are the applicants.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to recuse myself. as
Okay.
a butter.
Let it be noted that Poon and
You don't get one,
Are you still
Party
on?
favors only
You were
for
at the
this
last.
city.
You recused yourself.
Yeah, because I think I am the butter, around back I am the butter, yes.
okay. John the Kindred and Bob Poon recused himself as being the butters.
Right. You're making that for me. What did I say?
Which side is that?
Can't wait for any time.
All right, Mr. Chairman, what's happened with this application? The applicant had provided us with all the data, it's in your packets. And the problem was, because of two of our members on the board, who are in fact abutters, had to recuse themselves, we lost their quorum. So this application hasn't officially been heard by the board. This after talk to the applicant about it informally, but there was no official action taken by the board. In that discussion, what occurred was, I had asked about the engineering for the 8-foot retaining wall, which Lucas honestly, to his credit, said, we don't want to do that. In which case, of course, they wanted to lower the first floor elevation of the barn 8 feet, which changed pretty much all the grading on the site. I mentioned that to him, and in that, what's it been, 2 weeks?
Yeah.
2 weeks since that, what they did is they went back to their engineers, and today they just submitted a revised grading plan showing the revision on the first floor elevation. So, I'll tell you honestly, I haven't looked at it, sorry. But we did receive it today, and I'm glad they jumped on that. So, they did in fact lower the first floor elevation, and they changed all the invert elevations on the drainage system. Did you notify DEP of the changes?
They said that the change wasn't significant enough to reapply.
So they're going to give you a revision on your plan? Wow. Lucky you. It's not the usual standard procedure. Okay, well, good. Okay, in that case, they do have the DEP stormwater permit. You'll find it in your packet. And essentially, you got to do a dry run last time. This time's the real thing. Would you like to make a presentation to the board of what exactly you're going to do? Sure. And they'll be here to answer any questions you have.
I don't have any PowerPoints or anything, but you have all the information in front of you. What we're going to do is build a tie stall barn for roughly 30 cows on the site. It's north of the current facility. On the site map, you can see the home, and that's up the hill from the facility. And the tie stall is basically a starting ground for new products and to try to revitalize the dairy industry really in the state of Maine. Everything's kind of gone downhill. And between Allison and I, we have the personal expertise to kind of bring that back. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this barn, get a small number of cows in there, and we're going to start coming up with new things to try out. And we're going to use the facility for all the processing. And we've got our hay storage up on the facility, separate from the barn for fire reasons. And it's something that hasn't been done in quite a while. So we've done a lot of digging and trying to figure out what's going to work best for us and for our needs, and also for the landscape of what we've got. We put it where it is because we've got about 12 acres of field, and we want to preserve that area for grazing, so we didn't want to use that up for the barn. And it also works out that where it is on the site, it's next to the home, so when we have cows calving in the middle of the night, it's not an issue to get up and walk right over and give them a hand. So that was really important to us.
Isn't it always an issue when a cow calves at 2 a.m. in the morning?
Usually they do it on their own. In the morning and it's all done for you.
Oh, look.
What kind of barn did you say it is?
It's a tie stall barn.
Help me, I don't know
Sure.
what that means.
Most modern barns, because of the large volume of cows, they have free stalls. And what that is there's pens, like little sand bunks
Yeah.
that are raised up a little bit, and the cows will lay in those when they want to sleep, and then they get up and go to a separate area to feed, so they have more movement around inside the barn. We're going with a tie stall because it's easier to milk, the style of milking that we're doing, and the number of cows that we've got. So the cows will be let out most of the year, except for extreme winter. And then in the wintertime, they'll stay in their spot and be milked every day, right through the line like she does now at her father's farm. So they stay right there.
In other words, they have their own compartment,
They do. It's their own spot.
and they get very possessive of their spot.
They can.
And you have an access road, I assume for two reasons. Number one, to be able to get down to the pasture, and number two, by motor vehicle. And the second one is, of course, for the cows to move their daily up and down.
Exactly. We've got access coming past the house to the barn for feed delivery and hay delivery. And we've also got to, we're going to pick up the milk now. We're not going to run a pipeline or anything, so we're going to pick it up with our small truck that we've got currently. And then out the front, we've got the exit for the cows going down and around. We picked the route that was least steep, going down and around into the pasture.
So that gravel drive is for the cows to
Yeah.
walk to the pasture?
Yeah. And I'm pretty familiar with cows on steep slopes, so they're pretty good.
I haven't checked this out. What's the gradient on that? Do you know?
I don't know.
Just for question, the way that you have this, if you need to expand,
Mhm.
say, to get bigger, but not overburden bigger, you have room enough to do so?
No, we have no plan to expand. The purpose of it is, for example, if we come up with a type of cheese,
Yeah,
and the manufacturer of that cheese starts to take off and becomes very popular, the idea is not to add cows to us, but to start purchasing milk locally. So we'll have our herd size and we'll stick with that, but if something does take off, then we're just going to purchase it. But we can't purchase 300 and 400 gallons at a time. You've got to unload a farmer's tank,
yeah.
and that's sometimes 1,000, 2,000 gallons.
Yeah.
So like I said, if something starts to take off, then that's what we're going to do. We're not going to add on. Because it has to be, the size of it has to be such that Allison can run it alone, or if she gets sick or hurt or something, then I can run it. Not to bring in a bunch of farm hands and try to manage it that way. That's not what we're
Yeah, I
looking
was
for.
just.
So these are gonna be, look like research and development caps.
Essentially, yeah.
How many you plan to have each?
20 milkers and then associated calves.
The barn holds, I think, 22 milk cows, and then it holds less than 30 young stock.
So talking about the gravel road going down the back, what I would encourage to help minimize erosion going down there is to try and get some, not ditch turnouts, but the equivalent to have some water go off the road periodically, maybe out of a small level spread or something like that to help keep enough cross slope so it doesn't channel down the road.
Exactly.
And create a maintenance problem for you guys, and an erosion problem down at the base of it.
So if I'm looking at this plan, that means that the manufacturing facility is gonna be over here. The what?
Yep, it's right, yeah, exactly. 111's over here.
Okay,
Yeah.
then this does not appear to have any access to anything. It appears that here's the building, here's the barn, here's a road connecting the two together, and here's a road for the cows to go down, but it's not connected to anything. How do you get any of the milk from here down to the production facility?
Right up this way, past the house.
Out around behind the back of the house?
Yeah, there's a place going right past the house.
It's kind of pasture right now, but
Okay.
space there.
You see the driveway?
I see the gravel driveway, yes.
You see the bituminous driveway?
And I see the bituminous driveway, yep.
Actually came all the way down to 111.
I'm confused as to the location of where this is actually gonna be. I had it sitting, so if I'm looking at the house, it's over here on this side, but it's not, it's gonna be out behind.
Yeah,
Okay.
that front driveway, or the front gravel road going down to the field just kind of ends when it comes to the field.
Okay,
And the gravel drive that goes around to the right of the, where it's labeled existing garage, is that gravel's in place right now.
Well,
So the shaded part of the plan is what's new.
yes.
now, how much coverage will this give you on the entire, added onto the building that is already there and all of the roadway? What will the total coverage be at that point?
I don't know that number.
I do, because I didn't. Of course, I don't have the notes. There we go. I'm sorry. Yes, what it is, it was in my notes of March 10th, which you don't have.
I don't have it.
My goodness, okay, let me tell you what I've got. What we have is a 6,476 square dairy barn and a 2,800 square foot hay barn.
Okay.
And what we have in the inventory existing and proposed building areas as followed. For the butter area, for the butter factory, we have 17,728 square feet. For the residence, we have 4,005 square feet. That's from the assessor's card. From this application, we've got 6,476 square feet. For the dairy barn, and the hay barn is 2,800 square feet, for a total of 31,009 square feet. The max allowed for building coverage in this zone is 50,000 square feet. So they've got some room to expand if they want to, put in sheds or whatever, but they've got adequate room to do some expansion also on the butter factory if you need to. So they're okay on that limit. In terms of impervious surface inventory, I won't go through every single one of them, but the total acreage that we have of impervious surface with this particular plan added to the others is 2.5 acres.
They can
And
have
5 is the max that's required, so they're just at the halfway.
Okay.
So if they want to put it in a runway for an airport,
Just make it grass, just the old fashioned kind.
Looks like keep it moving. What is the distance from the existing garage and existing house to your barn or to your hay barn? Any idea?
The hay barn, I'm not sure, the barn I believe is 60 or 70 feet.
60 or 70? Yeah. Also, it's relatively small, because turn around looking on this, it looks like it's a greater distance.
Yeah, no, it's not too far. We tried to keep it close.
Hop, skip, and a jump?
Yeah,
Okay.
blizzard out, you don't really want to walk too far. Well, she doesn't.
This looks like it'd be over 100 feet, 120 feet or so, according to the scale. From the house to the barn, and that's not a problem with me, but.
Yeah.
No, I was just inquiring, I mean,
I paced it from the corner of the house, so.
you know, I just, for the sake of inquiring, you know, because you have access from the house up to the existing house in case you needed fire protection or anything else. That's why I was
Yes.
getting at for the distance.
Mhm.
And if that close, stand at the house, at the house, you know.
So will there be water going into the barn? You have, water, I'm just wondering about.
Drinking and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what we're gonna do is we're just gonna run a line off the existing well, because it's so close. And our well has,
You got enough
More
volume there?
yeah, we've got a lot of flow coming out of that thing.
Okay. And how about, will there be any septic needed for this? Just let it soak in the ground?
No, we've got a,
No?
we've got a concrete pad at the rear of the building.
And
The
where's it
barn,
go?
it's actually a basin. It's, the barn is designed so we can push manure from the interior down the lane behind all the cows and then into like a bunk. And it stays in there until we, well, I think what we're likely gonna do is compost it and sell it. Because I don't have plans to spread it. So we've got such a small pasture area, I don't wanna be spreading fresh or even seasoned manure in areas that cows are gonna be grazing.
So they don't have to reach it over.
That's right.
Recycle it.
So let's not recycle it.
Jamie, have any comments, questions?
Add to the-
No, my biggest one was just that road slope going down. I mean,
There's a steep drop right off
Yeah.
from the barn down to the pasture.
The front is reasonably steep, but as you come around the back, it kind of grades down real nice. That's why we picked that area for the road, because that's kind of the natural,
Yeah.
that's why our driveway going to the house is so squiggly, because that was just the way that the
Yeah.
land went the best.
Rich, any comments?
Well, I'm just wondering, what's gonna happen if there's a fire there? Because there's no water there. And there's no way to get water there. I mean, you've got that big pond down at the factory,
Mhm.
but there's no, it stops. And once, it's pumped uphill, to the manufacturing site, and from there is no water.
Mhm.
If that catches fire, it's gone.
Yeah, that's a little my concern, because you can't lay a hose there.
There's no connection. There's
Well,
no
you
way-
can't get the friction loss is gonna be too great. You're never gonna get over the friction.
Pump it uphill.
We wouldn't know, we can pump it up to the butter processing plant, but there's no way it can go any further than that. We can't get a truck up to that plant. We wouldn't be able, because we're gonna have to push it uphill, we're not gonna be able to pull it up that hill. We're putting a truck down at the bottom, and we're gonna pump it up the hill.
You can't put a second truck, you can't daisy chain? to pump it
There's
this
a
truck in the
connection
field?
up on the building right now that we're pumping it up to. Because we're gonna take it out of the pond and it's pushed out of the ground up to the building right now, to a connection on the building that we would be able to fight from. But we wouldn't be able to get it up any further than that. So I'm not sure how if something should happen, I don't know how we're gonna be able to get anything out there.
Even the same thing for the house.
I think maybe we need that name.
The house, Marty, the house wouldn't be a problem because it's a paved driveway, we could run a truck up there and set up a water dump.
So
We
what-
just wouldn't be able to get it around to the.
No, what I'm just saying is, that's why I was asking, Rich, because the distance from the house to the barn,
Yeah.
is he's only saying it's 100 feet or 70 feet. So, I mean, that would be, if you had your water dump, you still would have the same.
Except that there'd be almost no way to get it around because the garage would be in the way. That would be the only concern I'd have then. So I don't know if you want to talk to the chief about that and see what he would come up with. I'm concerned that there's no water. And the last thing I want to do is go up there and have barbecue.
Yeah, the hay barn one,
Don't you have a driveway right back here that goes to, gives you access to both barns? From the garage, don't you see the
Gravel?
gravel
The
driveway?
gravel driveway.
Could you travel on the gravel?
oh, yeah.
What time of year?
Yeah.
If you can get to the house, you can get to the barn.
Well, I'm sure they're gonna keep that gravel driveway open.
Yeah, but what time of year?
Well, you're not gonna go.
You aren't gonna go plow the gravel driveway in the winter time.
Yeah.
Sure, I
You
think
have
The
to.
wind should.
Why would you?
Are you gonna move the house?
We're gonna have to.
Move the hay.
The-
You have to do that.
The feed truck will have to get in there
Yeah.
regularly.
So it's gonna be just a question of time climbing that hill with a fully loaded tanker.
More than one fully loaded tank, because we're gonna shuttle it
It's
out.
gotta shuttle it up, because I don't think you can put an LVH out.
No, and that's,
It's just too
again,
much
that's,
tank.
you know, that's the concern I have, is, you know, what are we gonna do?
Could they put
Well-
a reservoir up there?
Yeah, no, you can put a portable ponds up there, that's, you know, it's the time to get it up there.
Yeah.
So you'd have to shuttle, you'd actually probably have to shuttle it from the main pond there. Pump it up there and then hook up into the pumper, and then they'd have to shuttle it up the hill.
Dry hay burns real fast.
That's why it's
The
separate.
hay-
The
the hay barn
hay
is-
barn's gone.
Right, the hay barn's gonna.
Yeah, no,
There's a
the
good-
hay barn is gonna be gone, I'm more concerned with what happens with the cows.
Yeah.
We get some magic door switch that we can hit, the doors fly open and the cows head out.
They usually
They don't move.
They're running.
They run towards it.
Oh, barbecue, I love barbecue. Yeah, the barn's it's gonna melt it'll melt the vinyl siding, but.
It's cement.
Oh, yeah, the house, that's right, I forgot, you like that, you're an endorser of party wood. Okay,
What's the structure of the barn gonna be? Timber frame? or-
Yeah, timber frame with vinyl siding, shingle roof, and more cement board.
well, I think the one thing we do wanna do is we wanna get the chief to weigh in on this. Yeah, you guys, I can either send it to him, or we can arrange a meeting with him.
Sure.
I think you probably want to present it to him. So, the sooner you can do that, better. We'll ask him for a report on how he's gonna deal with it. There is adequate water, I would think, to get down there, it's just a question.
Pond, yeah,
From
just
the
getting
pond,
it up.
Just getting up there, that's all.
Did you guys use the pond in the fire on 111?
You know, I don't know, I wasn't that, I would imagine they must have.
I don't think so.
I thought they shuttled one from here. They were gonna set up at Drew's Mills, but I heard that they did set up at Kate's instead
Mhm.
of Drew's Mills.
Yeah.
I think it was
That's good.
closer,
So it worked out all right.
but they made. Okay.
Do we need to do a second one?
Yeah.
Should. Yeah, it's site plan, have to. Oh, it's conditional use, you don't have to. But you do anyway, so.
You guys want to, right before the next meeting, like we did tonight,
Yeah.
we gotta make
It
sure.
might
that-
actually be spring.
It is spring now.
We gotta make sure that there's at least four of us there, because two
Right.
members cannot participate.
Right. You gotta have full house, and everybody, what time?
6:15, 6:30, no, 6 o'clock. Because we're on the other side of town, right?
I don't see that as a.
No, actually, it's on this side of the town. I'm on the other, today we're on the other side of
I
town.
think we're not much farther away than.
It's 5 minutes.
6:30?
Much further away.
6:15?
6:50.
I would be inclined to, I think we should do it at 6 again. You know, give us
Give us enough time.
enough time.
Okay.
You know, it's a bigger site than the spot we looked at on, the spots we looked at on Route 1 tonight.
All right, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock it is.
April 10th.
Now, the applicant's gonna have it posted or pinned out, I mean, so where the barn's gonna be, or?
Yeah, can you put some stakes where the limits of the barn are? Because we're not very mad.
3 color ribbons, you know, I mean,
Money likes blue ribbons.
no, I didn't ask you what color.
Really like blue.
What else we need?
I think by that time, I'll also try to get a report from, they should meet with the chief
Yeah, okay.
and try to get a report from him. He's usually in on Wednesdays, right? Wednesday and Thursdays?
Supposedly, but,
Have we,
Yeah.
Ted, have we
We'll tell you
received,
when he shows up.
And Wednesdays and Thursdays.
Sometimes on Friday mornings.
Yeah, Wednesdays and Thursdays.
have we received a application
Yes,
completed?
yes. Yeah, well, we just got it tonight, because the last time they were running
Rechange.
changes.
I wasn't here last.
Allison, as I mentioned to you, I need the full set. Because I'm, it's really hard, I mean, to have to do the conversions. My brain's just not that quick. We'll need a full set for the signature and findings. Any other questions from the board?
Now, everybody's gonna be able to be there?
Sam, you don't have any issues with?
No, I should, I don't have anything expected.
Your crisis is gonna be over by then.
No, it won't.
Yeah.
I'll be right in the middle of it. I'll have 5 days to go.
It's a good, it's a good chance to take a break. Take a break.
Okay.
Walk out in the sunshine.
Definitely need to at least go over there.
Well, then I'll make sure I
Yeah.
tell receptionist not to book any appointments that day.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, folks.
Okay. Zoning ordinance modifications, DB2. I think a couple guys would like to take a break. Well, we'll take 5 minutes.
I'll check this.
You as well.
Oh,
I need a 5-minute break.
yes, sir.
While we take a short break, if you guys haven't had a chance to read these, if you can peruse it quickly, and so that way we can voice our opinions and try to get this settled this evening.